Okay, folks, we're fixing, hopefully, here to have Clive Doyle call in. Clive survived all 51 days in Waco, Texas in 1993, and that should be Mr. Clive Doyle. Let's try it. Hello? Hello, Clive. This is Jeff Davis. Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
We're doing great here. We've got, I want to thank you for calling in, Clive. Let me mention to you that the local CBS affiliate, the KI here in Austin, Texas, ran just an unbelievably horrible piece about today being the 18th anniversary of the raid. It was, you all were cultists and it was just awful. So
Can you hear?
I'm sure you're used to it,
Yes.
but that's one of the reasons why I asked Mike to call. Have you, if you'd be available to call in, because it's just, the whole thing is just ridiculous. And Gary, I want to go ahead, Clive. First off, how do you feel? It's been 18 years ago today when the whole raid came down. What's your thoughts on it? Either then or now.
Well, at the time it happened, it was a shock to all of us. We were not expecting it by any means. For them to come in there shooting and it came out in the trial later on in San Antonio that they hadn't even brought the search warrant with them. They said they were out there to serve a warrant. We'd gotten up and had breakfast and everything, and I happened to hear a bunch of people in the cafeteria area, and kind of quite a crowd in there, and I went in to see what was going on, and David Koresh walked in from the other side and said that he'd just got news that something was going down, that there was people coming, and told us to all just go back to our rooms, and he'd go down to the front door and talk to them and see what they wanted. And next thing I knew, there was shots fired from outside, just coming in all over the place, and that was pretty traumatic. I've been shot at before, but this was the first time, with such a huge amount of people, and by the end of the day, we had 6 people dead and several wounded, and it was pretty traumatic.
I imagine so, Gary.
Yeah, Doyle, there's something I always wondered, and whenever David went, or when he was in the kitchen there, did he have a weapon with him at that time?
I don't recall seeing him with a weapon.
Oh, okay.
There's conspiracy theories, Clive, that the 4 agents that were killed that day weren't even shot by Branch Davidians.
I've heard that. I can't say one way or the other. I know that, the government tried to make it sound like we ambushed them or something, that just everybody was just shooting at them. But I saw a couple of guys that once the shooting started, they reacted by getting some weapon, but they were a small minority. The rest of the people, most of the people in there were unarmed and like I said, taken by surprise. And when David went to the front door and opened it to see who was coming in, they just start shooting through the front door. They shot Perry Jones, David's father-in-law. They shot David, and like I say, after a few hours, we had 6 people dead, and that's a strange way to come in and serve a warrant, if that's all they had, a search warrant. But I think they had more ulterior motives on their mind when they first started. Maybe not all of the individual officers that took part in the raid, but somebody had a plan to do more than just serve a warrant.
Yeah, and go ahead, Gary.
Clive, what were you doing that time? Were you just...
Well, I'd been in my room. Like I said, we just had breakfast, and the only reason we probably weren't out working outside was that it was had been drizzling rain, and so we hadn't got out. Most of the guys were still in the building and hadn't got to go on to work. But like I say, I was in my room and I heard all these people in the cafeteria, which was across the hall from where I was, where my room was. And when I got out there, they were tossing around that somebody had called in and said that something was going down, like a raid or something. Nobody seemed to really know what was going on, except that they'd heard something was up. And about that time, like I said, David came in and confirmed that he'd heard that somebody was coming, so he just told us all to stay calm and go back to our rooms, and he would go down and see who it was. Sheila Martin, her story is that she was upstairs on the second floor, and she saw the trucks come down the gate. I didn't see anybody driving in because I wasn't looking out the window, wasn't expecting anything, so I wasn't looking. But she happened to look out the window, and she thought they were delivering building supplies. They had these trucks with like horse trailers on the back, but they were covered with tarpaulins. Well, it turned out they had all the agents in these trailers, and so it was a shock to her. She just thought somebody was delivering building materials. But once all that shooting started, it was a weird experience. You'd think we'd all be cowering and trying to duck bullets or whatever, but I found myself running down to the front door, expecting to see a bloodbath in that general area because of the volume of shots that came in. And as I went down the hall, I found Perry Jones crawling up the hall, screaming that he'd been shot, and Tommy David had been shot. And so I ran further down to the front door area, expecting to see David laying on the floor, maybe a whole bunch of others, but when I got down there, it was empty. And so I came back to Perry John. I said, well, I thought you said David was shot. He says, well, he was, but he ran up the front stairs, up to the second floor. And we found out later that he got shot again up there. So he had two wounds, one through the wrist, which he'd got at the front door, and one through his stomach. It went in the front and out the back, straight through wound. But it was bad enough to where he figured he wasn't going to last much longer. He thought he was dying. And we all figured perhaps the same thing. He was in pretty bad shape there for a while.
Clive, I want to mention that you're having a get-together, some type of get-together again on this April 19th.
April 19th, yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, we haven't got it all set up as far as the place yet, but we're hoping to have the same motel that we had last year, the last couple of years. And I've yet to confirm that we can get that booking, but last 2 years we've been at the what is that? The Country Inn and Suites on the southbound lane of Interstate 35. So it'll probably start about 10 o'clock, and we're hoping to have food there this year. Instead of going to a restaurant, we'd probably eat right there at the motel if we can arrange it all and get it all organized. So we'll probably be there for 3 or 4 hours. Usually after that, a number of people usually want to go to the cemetery or out to Mount Carmel. It just depends what they want to do as far as after the service is over. But we're hoping to have a pretty good crowd.
Well, I figure Mike Hansen and myself will be there at minimum.
Okay, that's good.
Anyway, Clive, we're fixing to play 17 Little Children.
Okay.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add, or is that, or you want to finalize? And I do thank you for calling in again.
Well, the longer time goes since this happened, of course, more and more of the survivors are dying off. But fortunately, I don't think we've had news of anyone dying this past 12 months, which is a good thing. Last year we just lost Catherine Madison.
Yeah.
And so, she died just a couple of months before. But hopefully there won't be any new names to add this year. But the ones that are still around, scattered around the country, are getting fewer and fewer as time goes by. And I'm just hoping that if the Lord allows us, those of us that went through this experience to die, that others will keep the memory of what happened and then, keep it going, even if we're not still around. But as long as we are, we'll try to, tell the latest generations of the horrific thing that happened 18 years ago this year.
Okay, Clive, and like I say, we'll probably see you April 19th.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to it.
Okay.
You take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, any final comments about all that?
It was just uncalled for tragedy. I mean, that many really innocent people having to be killed like that.
I think it was just basically murder.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's the way I feel.
It just must be terrible. I mean, apparently these bullets are just coming in all over the place, and nobody knows what's going on. And I mean that just has to be terrifying.
Mass
And
murder.
this is the men, women, and children in there on that day, February 28th.
See, if I was a tank driver, I wouldn't be a tank driver. But if I was a tank driver and then they gave me orders to drive that tank into that building, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
So that's the way I feel about it. Anyway, folks, we ready? We're going to play 17 Little Children.